Hey guys, how are you? So, what are we going to look out for today? Learn, or however you want to call it. So, this is a very interesting topic. So, just for to give you a little bit of context, I launched a business together with a co-founder of mine, and we scaled to seven figures pretty rapidly. I think in about 18 months. So, Um, I am still young. I was younger at the time. I'm 22 now. I was 18 then. So one of the biggest questions I get and I got and I still get is how do people take you seriously? Like from all the questions you could get, this was by far the one I got the most. And it's actually a quite valid question, because honestly, when I do, and there's nothing wrong with that, when I do, it's like everything, when I do business and I have in front of me, or I have a job interview with a candidate, and the candidate is 18, I will ask myself if I actually want to have that person because in 99% of the cases, they won't be able to do the right thing. It will be like this guy's coming out from school or high school, whatever. How will this guy even perform? You don't have the certainty, and that's fine. The same went with us. I remember, and especially for you watching me, if you're in Europe, you'll understand people in Europe are a little bit more conservative. I know in the States people tend to be a little bit more, hey, yeah, fucking hell, let's do it, and they just don't care. So I remember back then, we got our first few um, contracts or I would say when calling contracts, or just jobs, um, and first work to do from basically outreaching and network and hey, I do websites and then you keep evolving and that business then later turned into a content business, which went quite well. So the question here is how do people take you seriously? And there's not much you can do, especially at the start, because at the start you're basically useless. So I am still, but back then you're useless. You don't know how to do anything. So you have to do everything. So how do people take you seriously? Step one, do everything for free. This is super cliche. Hey, yeah, work for free, work for free. Um, just do it, Like I remember the first ones, the first work we did, um, was like kind of product descriptions. Wait, no, first of all was websites. And when we started with product descriptions, from kind of an online shop here in Austria and Germany, I remember we started writing these ourselves. And you guys have to understand my writing is terrible, as you see from my iPad. So we wrote those ourselves, and we didn't get paid anything, barely. It was quite ridiculous what we got paid. Um, it was almost for free. But that just opens up so many doors. I can tell you, if I wouldn't have taken that job or that let's say the contract or that client, better said, we wouldn't have been able to build a business because it didn't we wouldn't have got that door opened, if that makes sense. That later on led to a bigger contract, and that later on led to more work, and we currently keep working with that client until today. Okay, so do everything for free. You have to prove yourselves. Being young is one of the fucking biggest advantages one can have. When you're young and if you live in a first world country, um, you don't have much to lose. Like you're at fucking home with your parents. If you want to start a business and you're 30 and you have your girlfriend or boyfriend and you want to move into a new apartment and suddenly you have rent to pay, like there is not much you can risk at that point, and don't talk even if you have kids. Like you can risk it. And if you and for me, like people always like, hey, wow, you're so young. Oh wow, have you done that? Blah 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 blah. It's much more respectful to do it, I tell you, with 40 or 35 or 50 than doing it with 18, like by far. Um, so step one is doing everything for free. You don't know have anything, you don't have any idea. You just have to learn, you know. So you'll fuck up a lot, and that will cost you a lot of time. It did myself too. So, but it's part of it. And my recommendation is simply just go. If you want to start with digital services, which is what we did, just think of the most simplest task, like admin tasks, virtual assistants, um, web design, you know, content writing. Like those are stuff that are super highly in demand and where people would need some stuff of that daily, you know. Just go out, offer the services. If they don't want to pay you, be like, hey, be honest, be like, hey, I just want to learn. Um, Give me that. I'll do it for you. No pay for the first 20 hours, for the first 30 hours. Like it's going to suck, but it's how it is. So first of all, do everything for free. There is one thing you gotta understand. When you're 18, okay, there's like, you know, when there comes suddenly a youngster in football, and suddenly he crushes it, and he's insane, and he scores so many goals, and blah blah blah. People are not super hyped with these youngsters because they see what they are seeing now. People imagine the potential, just combining the potential that they have combined with the age, right, along with what they are doing now. Okay, so is, for example, what I'm doing now impressive? Absolutely not. Is it impressive for someone who is my age? Yes. All right, because it's not that it's impressive. It's just simply a probability game. All right, so it's not impressive. It's just less probable to do it in my age in comparison to the rest of the society. All right, so same here. You know, it's not that I'm great now. All right, if someone would have what or is doing what I'm doing now at 40, I mean, it's good, you know, but it's not more than good, you know, it's good. That's it, you know. So same as here, you know, when you are 18 and you can think of this, if you're 18 now, um, think of this like that, okay? You're 18. Everything, look, every fucking thing you do has a multiplier of times 10, all right? So let's say you work for someone and you do an incredibly well job. And to do an incredibly well job, I'm not meaning on the actual skills. I'm meaning on the fucking attitude of just going in there and just doing the job and just don't complaining and trying to learn. Show up early, leave later, be interested, you know, be fucking genuine and don't be like that and be like, hey, yeah, I just want to win a few bucks. Look for the fucking long term, all right? Don't be like, hey, I wanna do this quick and be out. Okay, don't do that. So let's say you're 18. Everything you fucking do is a times 10. Okay, think of this like that. If you work for a client, you do a good job, multiply times 10 on the impact it has, you know? So if it's good, if you're 18, it will be 10 times better, you know, on their minds, because you're simply so young that they are not seeing you with a neutral opinion or an objective opinion. They're seeing you on the potential that you could have if you continue on that path. So same goes here. If you're 18, it's 10 times as impressive what you do, but it's also okay if you fuck up, the person that took you and let's say was like, hey, yeah, I'm going to take that person, and the shame that person is going to have is much higher. What do I mean? If I, for example, hire someone who is 30 and that person turns out to be a great hire, it's not impressive, you know? But if that person turns out to be a bad hire, it's also not unimpressive, you know. But same goes here. If I hire an 18-year-old coming out of high school who hasn't studied, who doesn't have any work experience, um, and if he comes in and suddenly he's the new Messi of calling, for example, and of closing, then that's a home run. It's a 10. It's a 10x in impressiveness. Um, but if I fuck up on that, the shame I'm going to have is maybe not a 10x, it's maybe a 5x on negative. 5x negative, 5x positive. So what I mean by that is if I hire someone and he turns out to be bad and I fire them, then the shame you have is a times five, for example, right? So I will be like, the shame I'm going to have is being like, hey guys, why the fuck did I hire this guy? He was 18, he didn't have anything, So y- the pressure is just still there because it's a big risk, uh, it's a big risk. It can also be a high reward, but the probability of being a shitty decision is quite high. Okay, so along that the years go by, what you do is less and less impressive. And honestly, if you are good at what you do, and as said before, this is not about skills, it's about attitude, it's about going that extra mile. If you do that at 18, people won't fucking care. Like I tell you, I can count with one hand how many times I've been asked how old I am in a meeting, for example. Like I know people, and I've had hundreds, probably thousands of meetings. So there's a lot of people and obviously everyone is like thinking at first, huh, this guy's so young. What the fuck? What the fuck? And the worst thing, I look young. If I'd have a beard, would be a little bit of a different story. But I look young. I looked even younger 3 years ago. So how 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 on earth is someone going to take you seriously? And the answer is actually just do your fucking job well and no one will care. And people will just look at your results and will even respect you better. So the younger you are, it's actually an advantage um, on what you do, So it's something that I really push people who are my age or a little bit younger to just, dude, no one cares about your fucking age. Everyone is going to take you seriously. Um, if you do your job right, and that's at the end of the day everything that matters. The rest it's just bullshit. So, moral of the story, just if you're young, go out there, do your job well, push hard, work hard, and people will respect you for your results, not for your fucking age. So, peace.